So I waited all day at work. I was a good boy, didn't spoil the nominations for myself, got home, watched the presentation, did an honest to God reaction to the nominees. There's some doozies in there. And then the file got corrupted and I'm fucked.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.
Ahoy there, this is Derek, the convicted cinephile. Yes, like I said, I did a genuine live reaction. It wasn't when they announced them officially, but I didn't spoil them for myself. Got home and then watched the announcement as I would have in the morning, reacted thusly. And it was all for naught. About 50 seconds into the video, it just decided to not work anymore, despite the recording going on for about half an hour with all my bullshitting after the fact. So that's really shitty. Uh, God damn it. I already took the day off for the announcements, then they moved them twice. Then I had to go to work and cause myself physical pain knowing they were going on and I couldn't watch them. Only to have it all ruined again, anyways. But at least I got to watch the announcements. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through every category and give you my reactions to those. I have more time now. I'm home alone. The wife and kid are gone. Don't have to rush. Hopefully this one works. But we'll go over all the shocks and snubs. We'll do that video instead, giving you some of my thoughts on that stuff. So, and then we'll go over, my predictions. I did fucking horrible in the shorts. I got 2 out of 5 right in all 3 of those categories. Which is, that's just bad. I should have just gone with what I had predicted first instead of actually paying attention. I ended up doing worse because of it. But other than those, all the other categories, I got like 4 out of 5 right. So overall, I got 75% right, which is okay. So I'm just going to skip the shorts because I don't know anything about them. And like I said, I got 2 out of 5 right. Terrible. So we'll start with best song. I got 3 out of 5 right here. That was my second worst category. I got both El Mal and Il Camino from Emilia Perez, which is the nominations leader, not surprisingly, with 13 nominations, some of which definitely not deserved. And I'm not just being a dick and saying it doesn't deserve Best Picture and all that nonsense. There's a couple crafts in here it could do without. I'll just say that. But original song is one of the few places it's definitely deserving, I would say, along with Miss Diane Warren, who can't not get nominated for The Journey from 68888. And then a pleasant surprise, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, an extra nomination for Sing Sing that we didn't necessarily see coming outside of it being shortlisted. And Never Too Late, the Elton John song, because Elton John. I didn't consider that one enough, considering it was Elton John. I had Compress Repress by Challengers, or from Challengers, which just got totally goose egged, and that is bullshit, and we'll get into that as we go. And the song from Wild Robot got snubbed. That was surprising, but it at least got in a surprising category to sort of make up for it. But that was kind of a bummer. I was hoping it would get into song and score. Best score, I think I went 4 for 5 here. I don't remember. We'll see. But The Brutalist got in, Conclave got in, Emilia Perez got in, which is a good score, but it's the lower end of these nominees, I would say. The Wild Robot got in for score, very good score, and Wicked. I didn't predict Wicked. I think I may have had Challengers in there instead of that, but like I said, Challengers got goose egged, despite deserving it far more than Wicked, in my opinion. The score for Wicked is perfectly fine. It fits the movie great, but it's just kind of an extension of the songs, I guess. I don't know. It seems weird to me that that constitutes an original score, and the Beetlejuice score, which is a lot of the same material from the first film, are eligible, but Dune 2's isn't. Just saying. And I'm not even like a Dune 2 like dork. I just think that's kind of weird. And like, how can you say one's okay and not the other? But who's counting? Anyways, the Brutalists will probably win this. Now that the nominees have fallen this way, I already was expecting the Brutalist to win. Now it just seems even more certain. You don't have that like, wild card of the Challenger score in there, which won the Globe and probably will win the Critics' Choice when those finally roll around. Having a coffee all day, so that's good. Best sound, we have Dune Part 2, Wicked, a complete unknown, unlike at the BAFTAs, but that was obvious here. The Wild Robot was a nice surprise nomination for sound. I like when animated films get in for sound. Doesn't happen enough. And Emilia Perez. So you have all three music movies in there, as was expected, sort of. And then you got the animated movie and the big old sci-fi movie. I didn't have Wicked, I don't think. No, I didn't have Amelia Perez. I had Wicked. I didn't have Amelia Perez because it didn't do great in the sound precursors. I had Gladiator 2, I believe, and instead of Wild Robot, and what was the other one I was going to say? Blitz, just because it did well at BAFTA there. And the sound is great in that movie. And I thought the bake-offs would help it, even though they didn't really happen the way they normally do. And I watched Blitz last night finally. It's okay, but the sound is fantastic. But these five nominees make way more sense than Blitz or Gladiator 2 ever would have. Visual effects, I believe I went 4 for 5. I didn't go for Alien Romulus, but I'm glad I got in. I wanted that to get nominated. And one of the other monkey things I want to say missed. Maybe not. Because you got the three monkey movies in there, and you got Dune Part 2. What was the one I had predicted? I don't even remember now. Let me look into this. I think it might have been Gladiator 2 now that I see it. Yeah, I think I had Gladiator 2 in there for visual effects. They looked okay. I didn't even see the movie. My wife said they were bad. She saw it with her dad. She said the visual effects weren't that great. So I'm not surprised it missed. I'm glad something cool like Alien Romulus got in. More horror movies slash sci-fi movies for Oscar nominations, please. Thank you. Makeup and hairstyling. I believe I went 4 for 5 here. The Substance got in, obviously. Wicked, I believe I predicted. Nosferatu, I predicted. Glad that got in. Go horror and Oscars. Amelia Perez, I put in, which not a lot of people did, but that was one that seemed right after BAFTA. And then A Different Man got in, which I'm kind of surprised I didn't predict, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't. I think I had Dune Part 2 in there. I'm not surprised whichever way that went. No waltzing with Brando. No Oscar nomination for that movie that I forgot even existed. I genuinely didn't even think they were done filming that movie. And then when I saw it get shortlisted, I was like, what the hell is this movie? Not realizing it was that Billy Zane, Marlon Brando piece of crap. But damn, does he look good in that makeup. I'll give him that. That's one that The Substance should win, probably will win. Actor makeup pairing again, hopefully, like I always say, for Demi Moore. Costume design, I believe this one. I think I didn't go for Complete Unknown because it seemed like a weird nomination, but it got in. Uh, Wicked, Nosferatu, Conclave, and Gladiator 2. I had all those, so good category. Not going to complain there. Glad Gladiator got something. Complete Unknown. I haven't seen the film yet. Didn't have a chance to see it in theaters yet. Just seems like an odd pick for costumes to me. I don't know. It's a period piece. I guess it's got that going for it. So whatever. Production design. I got all five of those right. I know that for sure. That seemed like an easy category by the end of all things. Wicked, Dune Part 2, The Brutalist, Conclave, and Nosferatu. No surprises there. Glad Nosferatu got in everywhere it possibly could have, essentially. That should have gotten in for score. That was the one thing for score that I didn't predict. Wicked got in instead of that, I believe. I was hoping for that. I was hoping for Nosferatu and score after BAFTA. But hey, I think got like 4 nominations, right? That's not bad. Best editing. This category sucks. It sucks both because I don't like most of the nominations here, or not most of them, but some of them, and because it's so important. Like you could basically look at these five and be like, "There's your top five," and it's so clear that that's what this is. No Complete Unknown is kind of surprising considering everything else it got. I was hoping The Substance would get in because it deserves it, and I was really hoping Challengers would get in because it really deserves it. But sadly, no. We had to throw both musicals in there. Emilie Perez and Wicked both are perfectly fine editing, no like complaints. But I was just like, I don't know, I'm not impressed by the editing in either of those movies. Let's just put it that way. Honora, very fun editing. It's not my favorite movie of the year, but the editing is top tier for sure. Very kinetic editing, like Challengers would have been. Apparently, you can't have two cool edited movies in there. Conclave is very precise, so I get that nomination. The Brutalist is good that it got in here. I didn't predict it because it missed BAFTA and the Ace Eddie Award, so I just thought it was screwed because it was like, oh, it's really long, nobody cares, it's not going to get editing because that's what happens. But then it got in, which is a good sign of strength for the film in general. So I think it's back up in the possible to win Best Picture race. I don't think this year's weird because there's no like obvious winner. It's either stuff that seems to have like some people love it, some people hate it. A lot of people like it, but it's not anyone's favorite. Like Honora, a lot of people love Honora. Some people Don't care for it. Conclave, everyone likes, nobody hates, but nobody, it's not everyone's favorite movie of the year. Emilia Perez, apparently the industry loves it, but everyone else hates it. The Brutalist, everyone who watches all of it seems to like it or love it. So nobody seems to like hate the film other than that it's like so long and they just don't want to watch it. The Wicked is another, like everyone likes it or loves it. Not too many people hate it unless you just have a bias against it. So it's a weird year for Best Picture, but that's good. It's more exciting. There's not like an Oppenheimer where it's just going to be like, oh yeah, that's going to win, and then it does, and then nothing's exciting. So this will actually be an exciting Oscars as far as who takes home the certain prizes on its way to Best Picture, which is why I needed substance here to give it a Best Picture chance. It's not going to win Best Picture, but damn, would that be cool. Cinematography, believe I went 4 for 5 here. The Brutalist definitely is going to get in, and it did. Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, very happy that got in there. Maria was the one from the ASC that people were like, what? And then when I looked into it and saw what else this cinematographer had done, he gets in for his movies, even if the movie gets nothing else. And that's what happened again. And then Amelia Perez, sure. I'm glad Wicked didn't get in. That got in at ASC, and that has very mediocre cinematography. The color grading is terrible, but the cinematography is fine. It's nothing special, I don't think. And then Complete Unknown got in there as well. Sure. I'll take your word for it, having not seen it. These five honestly make more sense. I honestly think The Substance has good cinematography, but I don't think that was ever a contender here. Animated feature, the one category everybody got perfect, so not too much there. No Moana 2 shock, so that's good. Nothing crazy surprising yet. I think the most surprising thing that happened so far is that Wild Robot got in for sound. Documentary feature, I did horrible in this category. I think I had all five of these in at one point in my five, but No Other Land got in. That's going to win. Sugarcane was the other thing I knew for sure was going to get in. Black Box Diaries I had. Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat I had In and Out all season. And Porcelain War is the one I don't think I maybe ever had in there because I don't think I really had heard of it pop up in other things before. No Will and Harper, sadly. No song from Will and Harper. I was kind of hoping Kristen Wiig would get in there for that. But these make sense. These make sense for this documentary branch, and No Other Land is winning. It's been winning everything. International feature, I got 4 out of 5. But the one I got right, Flow, was the one I expected to get wrong. And then Girl with the Needle snuck in there instead. So what was the and Kneecap was the one that missed. I thought just based on BAFTA in general, Kneecap would be an easy in here. Apparently not. It didn't get in for its song either, which was less obvious. But these five make perfect sense. It's cool that Flo got in for international and animated feature. That just shows how good the movie is and how strong it is if it can get into both categories. I like that they renamed the category. I say this every year. I'm glad that they changed it from foreign language film to international feature because not all foreign films speak a foreign language. Like there's a movie from Ireland where they speak English with Irish accents. So it's not a different language. And Flow doesn't have any language, but it's from a different country. So that's why it's cool that I got in here. Amelia Perez is probably going to win. How cool would it be if I'm Still Here won instead? Everyone wants that to happen now. And we'll get to the why in a minute. And Seed of the Sacred Fig was always getting in there. So the top three were there, and the other two that get in were always on the cusp. Let's just put it that way. Cool that Flo got in. I was happy about that. Not just because I was right, but it's adorable. Come on, just look at it. The adapted screenplay category was 5 for 5 with BAFTA. That was an easy one. Everyone probably got that right, unless they were trying to pick a shock. I have my little espresso before it gets cold. It's already cold because it's been out for 2 seconds. Mm, coffee flavor. But Conclave, that's gonna win. Sing Sing, glad it got in here, and I'm glad that Clarence Macklin is a screenwriter on the film. So even though he missed for supporting actor, he's still an Oscar nominee for the screenplay, and that is awesome. Sucks he didn't get in for his performance, but at least he gets in for the film, which is kind of nice. Then I'm kind of because of that, I'm sort of glad Jeremy Strong got in over him, just because then they both get in. You know, just nice. More spread the wealth. Nickel Boys got in. The one category was basically guaranteed. Best picture was, a coin flip. Supporting actress was a long shot. Same goes for cinematography. Emilia Perez, of course, has to get in everywhere because I guess so. I don't know why, but there it is. And A Complete Unknown by Jay Cox and James Mangold. James Mangold had a day today. Good for him. Original screenplay, on the other hand, was slightly less obvious, but it went to five things that make sense, especially since Challengers got the shaft. September 5 got that screenplay nomination. In my original video that got fucked, I was like, oh shit, it's gonna get Best Picture now after that got in for screenplay. But then I missed editing, and then I was like, maybe not. So Anora, that's probably gonna win. The Brutalist, a real pain. Glad it got in here at least. That I was surprised missed Best Picture. We'll get to that more. The Substance, that I think is honestly number two in the category as far as win goes, and that's September 5. I think if Anora wasn't in the picture, Substance would be winning screenplay. And if Anora doesn't do as well as it could, like if they just aren't super high on it in general, like if it just kind of got in all these places, but they have no intent on like voting it to win anywhere, I could see the Substance taking this, and that would be amazing. I would prefer that because it's a more unique movie, more unique screenplay and concept, in my opinion. Um, but I'd be totally fine with Honora winning. That's like the best thing about the movie. And Sean Baker's awesome, and him getting an Oscar is cool. So no complaints there. Supporting actor, I don't want to say stupid, but it was stupid. I went with Clarence Macklin over Jeremy Strong. I had a feeling that if Jeremy Strong got in, so would Stan, which did happen, or neither of them would get in. And Sing Sing overall seems stronger since it was going to get that screenplay and lead actor and possibly pitcher. Apprentice was never going to get Best Picture. So that's why I went with Macklin. But like I said, I'm glad they both got in. You got your Succession boys together in the same category. I'm so happy Guy Pearce got his first Oscar nomination. That is awesome. Very overdue for him. Yuri Borisov got in everywhere. So did Edward Norton and Kieran Culkin. We'll see if Culkin can sweep. He's not in a Best Picture nominee now. If Real Pain was in Best Picture, I think he would have no problem sweeping. But since he's not, it'll be the first time since 2011 when Christopher Plummer swept without the beginners being in Best Picture that somebody did that. So, and he's not Christopher Plummer, no offense. And that was very much a career award, in my opinion. I personally never thought he deserved to sweep that season. I wanted Albert Brooks for Drive, but then he didn't end up getting in barely anywhere. So, enough of that. But I love Christopher Plummer, so I'm glad he has an Oscar. Supporting actress went mostly the way I expected. I went 4 out of 5 there. I'm glad Felicity Jones got in. Enough people watched the second half of Brutalist, I guess, to get her in there. Isabella Rossellini, I think she was a solid number 3 by the end of all things. For Conclave, good for her. Her first Oscar nomination after all these years. And she's damn good at that movie. She's only in it for like 8 minutes, but she's one of the best parts of that movie. She has a better impact than most of the other characters, given her limited screen time. And then the two that were obviously going to get in, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. I'm glad Selena Gomez didn't sneak her way in here. That would have been, God, that would have been tied the record for nominations if that happened, and that would have been the worst thing ever. Um, I wanted Margaret Qualley, obviously, for The Substance. But I'm glad Barbaro got in. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was in after getting SAG and BAFTA, so I'm kind of surprised that didn't happen. But like the Apprentice guys, I figured it'd be all or nothing. I thought Pam Anderson and Jamie Lee Curtis would both get in, not one or the other. So the three that got, all of them that got in are for movies with multiple acting nominees, and all five of them are Best Picture nominees, which is nice. There's usually like a sole nominee here kind of a thing, but that didn't happen this year. Nice to see women in Best Picture nominees getting nominated, and it's not as male dominated as it used to be. So that is nice. Best Actor, I went with Daniel Craig just because I figured that's what they would do. I thought Sebastian Stan would cannibalize his own votes with Different Man again. I almost switched to him last second, but I didn't. Whatever. But I'm glad he got in for Apprentice. It's nice that people gave that film a chance and got in. People seem to like that movie. It seems to be a much more entertaining watch than Queer. I don't think anyone likes Queer that much outside of Daniel Craig being really good in it. It wasn't going to get anything else. So it's nice that Stan and Strong both got in. Bucky, Oscar nominee, hurrah. But this race is, and always has been, between Adrian Brody and Chalamet, I'd say. But if any of these five won, it'd be a hell of a good winner. Best Actress. This one I went 5 for 5 for. This wasn't shocking in the slightest. By the time the nominations rolled around, we got Mikey Madison for Nora, Demi Moore for The Substance, who I really hope wins. That'd be awesome. Carlos Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Cynthia Erivo, who a lot of people thought could miss for whatever reason, the Barbie argument, I guess. But she's way better in Wicked than Margot Robbie is in Barbie. That's just a fact. No offense to Margot Robbie and Barbie, she's good in it, but Cynthia Erivo like brings the house down in Wicked. And then Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. If she would have missed this nomination, she would have been only the third woman, only the third Golden Globe Best Drama Actress winner ever to not get nominated after winning the Golden Globe. And the other two times, one of them was Kate Winslet, who won for a different movie the same year she won for The Reader. So that's kind of like she a weird thing. She won the Golden Globe in supporting for The Reader and lead for Revolutionary Road, and then won for lead at the Oscars. So that kind of doesn't count. So she won, the same person won for a different movie. So it's weird. And then the other time it happened, there was a three-way tie, and two of those three women got nominated at the Oscars, and the third one who tied did not. So she would have been the first actual one to miss with no like caveats on there. So I'm glad that didn't happen, and I'm glad this movie did so well as you saw, and we will talk about in a second. But yeah, good for her. Could she win? Once again, surprisingly, all five of these women are in Best Picture nominees. Didn't think that would happen. I thought if Pam Anderson got in there, congratulations on that, but that didn't happen. The only other option was probably going to be Marianne John Baptiste, who would have been a sole nomination for her movie. So this makes sense also, just based on nomination totals. Best Director didn't go how I expected, but I'm okay with it. We have Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, Sean Baker for Honora, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez. Thank God, I was I was getting angry at my screen. I really wish you could record. I could find that recording to get so messed up. As soon as they said James Mangold for Complete Unknown, I literally yelled "fuck you" to my computer. Nothing against James Mangold, he's great. Outside of that Indiana Jones movie, that was terrible. But once he got in, I was like, God damn it! They're gonna snub Farjat. But then, not even thinking, they had already snubbed Edward Berger for Conclave, which I feel bad for him because he's not a producer on the movie, and I don't think he wrote the movie at all. No, he didn't. That was Peter Strawn. So once again, he's in a huge Oscar-nominated film. Like it's in for Best Picture and actor and all these crafts and stuff like All Quiet on the Western Front, which was like the number 2 movie that year after Everything Everywhere. And then he gets snubbed again. So I feel bad for him this time. The first time it made more sense because he kind of came out of nowhere. This one, he was there all season long, got in everywhere, and he still got the shaft. So I felt bad for him. But James Mangold's great. This is his first Best Director nomination. He would have maybe gotten in if Walk the Line was a Best Picture nominee, and it would have been if there was 10 slots that year. But this is, I think, his third Best Picture nominee or nomination, and his first directing one. And he got in for screenplay, I believe, if I remember right. So good for James Mangold. He's a worker. He's a solid director. Everything he makes, with the exception of Indiana Jones, is either good or very good or great. So he's put it the work in. Let's put it that way. So his nomination is cool, and it just once again shows how strong Complete Unknown is, and it shows some weaknesses in Conclave's chain, if you will. Deserves it more than Amelia Perez. I'll put it that way. But The Substance, thank God, Corley Farshad get in for director. I was like, oh God, no. Oh, thank God. Because she's Substance is always like last, unless Wicked's in the category, which in this category, it was never going to be there. So they went 4 for 5 with DGA. Thing that replaced the one was what I expected and hoped for, which was The Substance. It was just the wrong person that missed. I thought it would be Mangold and not Berger. So good for them. This sucks for Berger because Coralie Farjat, 3 nominations. I think if she's the producer on the film too. Honestly, don't remember now. But she at least got screenplay and director. James Mangold got the 3 nominations. Jacques Audiard got way too many nominations because he's also a co-writer on one of those songs. Sean Baker did everything for his movie. Bunch of nominations. Brady Corbet, bunch of nominations. Edward Berger, the one thing he can get. Poor guy. Best Picture. Oh, this was stressful. Once it got halfway through the obvious ones, we had a Nora, we had Brutalist, we had Conclave, we had Amelia Perez, we had a Complete Unknown, we had Dune 2. It didn't do great. It missed some easy things it should have gotten, honestly. But that still got into picture. It did pull the Two Towers, just like we all expected. And then once it got lower, I started to get scared because I'm Still Here popped up out of fucking nowhere for Sony Pictures Classics. They did a good job, and the fact that it got into Best Picture is proof that the Golden Globes matter. Fernanda Torres getting in for Best Actress was like a coin flip, but it was in her favor because she won Best Drama Actress. Like I was saying, statistically, the fact that this got enough people to watch it post Golden Globes and during the extended voting period, and not only she, but the film itself could get into Best Picture is insane. I never would have guessed that. And there's your international film that snuck into Best Picture at the last second that no one saw coming. It happened anyways. Even though Amelia Perez was already there, it still happened, and that's crazy and awesome. So good for them. Very cool. Last second nomination. How awesome would it be if I'm Still Here won international film over Amelia Perez? Will never happen. But goddamn, would that be great? If I could vote, I'd vote for it just out of spite. Um, but like I said, the substance got in. If it got picture and director, or writing and directing and an actor, you're probably going to get Best Picture. It'd be really stupid if it didn't. Be like Foxcatcher, uh, which is a weird scenario. And then you have Nickel Boys, which I went 8 for 10, probably the worst I've done in Best Picture in a while, because there was actually a lot of question marks around the last couple slots. And one of the things I get in, nobody expected to get in for the most part. I had Sing Sing and Real Pain. After Real Pain got in at PGA, I was like, oh, that's number 9, easy. It's got a screenplay and an acting win, probably. That's number 9. Nope. Nickel Boys pulled at Women Talking. Picture, screenplay, that's it. So good for them. I still have to see the movie. Sing Sing, sadly, got the shaft despite getting screenplay and an actor. And I got that song nomination. So it at least got 3 nominations, and one of them is for Clarence Macklin. So that is good. But that I'm Still Here shocker is insane. Like everything else was pretty normal. Like the thing that got in, even if I got it wrong, like Sebastian Stan, was like, yeah, that would have been my next guess. Like everything was like a number 6 that got in the major categories, or it was at least like in the realm of possibility. Like had Real Pain or Sing Sing got in instead of I'm Still Here, I'd have been like, yep, whatever. That I'm Still Here nomination for Best Picture is insane. That is so cool. Like I haven't even seen the movie, but I've heard nothing but great things. But I'm just like, I'm so proud of them. Good for you, Brazil. And everyone in Brazil, I could hear them cheering from my house. I'm in Minnesota, and I could still hear them screaming at the top of their lungs. Uh, Not only just for Fernando Torres getting in, but that surprise Best Picture nomination was crazy. What was your favorite shock and snub? There's no real snubs that I could say. Everything that like had to get in sort of did. I was wishing Substance would get more, but I'm not surprised it didn't. Margaret Qualley editing, any of those would have been a pleasant surprise by the end of it. Daniel Craig is probably like one of the bigger snubs, but even after BAFTA, that makes sense, you know? So there's not like a lot of giant snubs, I would say. Everything that missed for its alternate, basically. But that I'm I'm still here. Best Picture nomination. Holy shit. That's like the shock of all shocks. More shocking than anything that is a Lakeith Stanfield and Best Supporting Actor for the same movie as the other supporting actor for Judas and the Black Messiah nomination level shock. And that is cool. And the Oscars always does at least one of those, and we got it again this year. So those are my thoughts on the nominees. I'm going to go watch everyone else's videos now. Sorry, my live reaction was worthless, but you got all my same thoughts here without the noise in the background. What are your favorite nominations? Who are you rooting for? Let me know in the comments. I'm hoping for that Demi Moore makeup pairing that often happens. But if that happens, what's Honora going to get? If Honora loses actress and it only gets screenplay, can it get Best Picture? Is it going to get editing? That'd be a good combo. There's some good packages out there. Poor Edward Berger. That's probably the biggest snub of the night. Honestly, now that I think about it. Poor. Edward Berger. Once again, my name is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. If this video didn't work, I I'm gonna break stuff.
Shop, pop, movies.